So, one state that I have actually never mentioned when it comes to witchy history or stories is that of New Jersey. But that doesn't mean that they never had their own witch parents.
Everything is legal in New Jersey.
In fact, there is a theory, at least deduced by one writer, that witchcraft in New Jersey was a part of a greater European secret society. And this is what led to a ton of witch trials and executions in New Jersey in 1648. In a March 10th, 1787 issue of the Gazette de Jersey, there was some people complaining about an increase in witches and warlocks in the area. This says a householder in the parish had dreamed that a wizard had come to him and ordered him to poison himself on a certain day of the week. Now, but he also couldn't tell anybody about this supposed unaliving plan. He needed to keep the dream to himself. He was unable to keep the horrific information to himself, and the poor man confided in the dream to his wife. Together, they decided that the only course of action was to visit a white witch. To overcome the evil spell of the wizard, the white witch suggested fasting first of all, and then on the day of the appointed unaliving, they hold a special ceremony. For the ceremony, the white witch, the husband, and the wife, together with 4 or 5 of their trusted friends, were to shut themselves up in a room. They were to boil special herbs, roast a beef's heart stuck full of nails, pins, and read special passages from the Bible. All the time, drawn swords were to be thrust in the chimney and down into the ground to prevent the black witch from entering the premises. As the man survived the day, the white witch was paid well for her services, and as apparently there were many others in the area who also believed themselves to be bewitched, the white witches had a thriving and profitable business now, helping people who were all facing the same thing. Now, here's another story out of Jersey as well, and it's called Edward and the Black Lady. Now, when Edward was about 14, ignoring the warnings of his parents never to annoy the Black Lady because she was reported to be a witch, he did just that. He shouted after her in the street, "Here comes the old negress!" The Black Lady turned and, looking straight into his eyes, prophesied, "It will be a fine day, my lad, before you eat any bread." When the terrified Edward got home, he found that he could not eat a morsel of bread or get a morsel of bread past his lips. So Edward grew up quite unable to eat bread, for despite the efforts of his parents to find the Black Lady to remove the spell, she had left the parish and could not be found. By the time he was 18, he had become a very sick boy indeed, and the doctors feared for his life. Then suddenly, at 3 o'clock in the morning on the 4th anniversary of his meeting the Black Lady, Edward jumped out of bed, raced downstairs to the kitchen, seized hold of a loaf of bread, and greedily began to eat. He had just got to the last crust of bread in his house when his father came down into the kitchen and saw that the terrible spell had been lifted. When the family doctor was told the astonishing news, he did not seem at all surprised. The Black Lady, as you call her, died at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the spell must have died with her. I don't know about y'all, but Edward should probably be glad that that's all he got, because what? Here comes that old negress. Who do you think you are? See, this is why people need to mind their own business, because what? And I know the times that was probably acceptable, but not eating bread should be the only thing he's grateful that she did to him. Now, there's a few more stories out of Jersey that I am going to share in another video. So go ahead and hit that follow button if you want to hear any more of these.